And the nice thing about this is once there is a real spontaneous dropping away into your own emptiness, your full emptiness, this whole journey is actually inevitable. But don't take any solace in the fact that it's inevitable. I think often we reserve the deepest pains for resisting that which is inevitable. It's insane, I will resist what's inevitable. Our whole culture is based around it, right? Like death. It's inevitable, but I will resist it. I'll pin my skin back every time it looks like it's getting a little closer. I'll shoot chemicals into my face that will paralyze certain parts of my face so that I look more alive. I will inject things so that certain points of my anatomy puff up like they do like when you leave a corpse out in the hot sun, and that's just one inevitability. There's only one true inevitability, is you can't avoid your true nature forever. It's not possible. Enlightenment, it's a sealed deal. Everyone's so worried about it. It's inevitable. You can't avoid yourself indefinitely. You can do it for a damn long time, but you can't do it indefinitely. But it's very difficult for the mind to relate to when we begin to wake up that the ways our minds hold things dualistically just become irrelevant. Like when you wake up to your true nature, you don't suddenly feel good about yourself. Did you think you were? Oh God, I feel rotten about myself and I'm totally unenlightened, so I feel even worse about myself. And when I wake up and I realize God and I get all enlightened and everything, I'm going to feel so good about myself. And it's so funny when you wake up and you don't even feel good about yourself. You just feel like irrelevant. Not in a negative way, but feeling good and bad, it's not relevant. That's ego land, feeling good, feeling bad. If you feel good about yourself, it's easy for you to feel bad about yourself. They're linked, right? It's better to feel good than to feel bad. If you're going to stay in ego land, go for the good thing. It's funner, Feel like you're worthy and worthwhile and all that kind of stuff. But when we wake up to our true nature, it all falls away. It's not just the negative falls away, what we think we need falls away. And we see, it's free because it's not relevant. Because how I feel about myself is simply how I feel about my idea about myself. And your idea about yourself is what falls away. There's only one thing better than, I'm bad or I'm good. And that's I am. Only something as insane as a human being would ever ask themselves if I'm good. You don't find oak trees having existential crisis, I feel so rotten about myself. I don't produce as many acorns as the one next to me. I'm not as beautiful, a branch broke off last year or whatever. Could you imagine if the natural world around you did that? What a disaster, right? If you walked past a flower and didn't acknowledge it, that you could just ruin its whole day, Or if they could talk, You go to one of those beautiful rose bushes. I have a beautiful rose plant in my front yard. And just think of the disaster if you had to be worried about if I smell this rose. And I think, gosh, that's beautiful, but I don't smell the rose next to it. I'm going to insult it. it would be insane, wouldn't it? You'd think, my God, the whole world went insane. When actually, no, it's fine. It's us, we're insane. We are the ones that do the very things we laugh at. That's why we laugh about it, right? Because when we're in our separateness, the illusion of separateness, then all of this is very important. This is what falls away. It begins to fall away when we start to realize the truth of our being. We're not good or bad, we're one. We're all one. We are the one. And its awakening is also the invitation to begin to see what it's like to live outside of the context of mind. Now don't get me wrong, you will have a mind, I have thought, I can use it when I need it. I find I don't need it that often anymore, but it's nice to have when you need it. But to live outside of the context of mind, it's an opportunity to live outside the context of mind. Right and wrong, good and bad. What's the right decision? What should I do? Truth doesn't move that way. That's not the way the divine moves. You can never tell a mind how the divine moves, because a mind can't understand it. Ever. The invitation is there. There's a vast field of silence all around your mind. The invitation is there. In that vast field of silence. It's just right there. There's the invitation. So if there's any good advice, it's when the bottom of you falls away and you see what you are. This radiant awakeness, this radiant consciousness, emptiness. The best piece of advice is don't resist. But you know what? You will. It's okay. You will. Almost everybody does. 99.9% resist to some extent. You will resist, but don't resist your resistance. The more you don't resist, the easier it goes. The more it just unfolds. The more you fall away and fall away and fall away, fall away and fall away.